and welcome to the Narrowing Path, walking the spiritual walk. My name is Steve Van Einstein. Thank y'all for joining me again tonight as we go through and do today's daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. This will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning that you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading, as this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right here on this podcast with y'all. And this is the fourth to last day of the year. Can't believe it's already closing in. Seems like it's gone by so fast. And I'm grateful to have been able to do this podcast every single day and give myself some realignment as well, really, at the end of the day. And hopefully share something with somebody that helped them out along the way. So let's go ahead. We'll do December 28th reading. Oh, and by the way, if you can go check out December 1st podcast in the description, there should be a poll there for you to check out. And just a little feedback for what you want to see in the upcoming year. That's in 5 days. And we'll get that started. So here we go again. December 28th, reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. Animal indulgence is alien to the perception of truth. There is little selfish indulgences, some of which appear harmless, that are commonly fostered. But no selfish indulgence can be harmless, and men and women do not know what they lose by repeatedly and habitually succumbing to effeminate and selfish gratifications. If the God in man is to rise strong and triumphant, the beast in man must perish. The pandering to the animal nature, even when it appears innocent and seems sweet, leads away from truth and blessedness. Each time you give way to the animal within you, and feed and gratify him, he waxes stronger and more rebellious, and takes firmer possession of your mind, which should be in the keeping of truth. Live superior to the craving for sense excitement, and you will live neither vainly nor uncertainly. Just trying to put into words. This is a great portrait of the idea of what do we serve, right? Who do we serve? Do we serve ourselves, or do we serve God and others? Our God, the God of our understanding, that power. I always talk about which are we choosing to serve? Are we choosing to serve our own selfish indulgences, our own little pleasures, and things to gratify and affirm ourselves? Or are we being of service to God and others? Are we resting on the understanding that truth reigns higher than my own personal opinion? Truth is permanent, eternal, non-moving. My opinion, though, that can get changed often. So this reading about serving ourselves, serving our selfish animalistic nature, really, is an important thing to talk about and keep at the front of your mind. Because if you don't, and you don't remember, and you don't keep this distinction, this little check, this little awareness to hold your decisions up to, it's easy to forget. It really is. So let's go through this again line by line. Animal indulgence is alien to the perception of truth because that's the complete opposite of truth It's getting a immediate pleasure or gratification and calling that right, calling that good. When that temporary sense of euphoria you might get, or accomplishment, or superior feeling of superiority, whatever it is that the action provides you, because if it's selfish and it's animalistic, it is providing you with something, right? It is a selfish indulgence, an animal indulgence, as he talks about here. And the truth is completely the opposite of that. The aim of truth is to do anything but that, especially with the intention to feel good to feel good, to feel pleasure, to feel excitement, as he says later on in this. Anything done to satisfy a need for a feeling is false. It's an illusion. It's not even real. Because what you might like, the next person don't. So it's completely subjective as to what this image would even be. So, animal indulgence is alien to the perception of truth. They are polar opposites almost. It's truth is doing the right thing for the right reason. And eventually you get these wonderful rewards and promises and things of righteous living that you didn't know was possible, like joy and happiness, love, forgiveness, peace, serenity, freedom. You know, those are the ultimate reward, but we don't aim at those. They just come naturally. You, many, at least myself and many I know, substituted pleasure for happiness for a long time. When it's so cheap, so hollow, so empty. There are little selfish indulgences, some which appear harmless and are commonly fostered. I mean, that kind of gives you, starts you thinking, or at least starts me thinking, okay, so what are mine? Do I have any? What are my little selfish indulgences that I really should be doing without? That I really should be cutting out of my day, whether it's diet, whether it's interactions, whether it's what I'm watching. I'm talking about social media. I'm not talking about just like the obvious problems, the situations and like porn or extreme violence, but even those short videos on social media give you that dopamine shot. You just chase and chase and chase. But it's become normalized in our society. It's become accepted. It's become expected, actually, in our society that you will follow these little bits of drug in a video down rabbit hole. No one questions it. The second half of this is so important. But no selfish indulgence can be harmless. No selfish indulgence can be harmless. Let that sink in. No selfish indulgence can be harmless. Anything you're doing for yourself just to make yourself feel better is most likely not as innocent as you think it is. You're taking away somewhere, you're doing something for the wrong reasons. And men and women do not know what they lose by repeatedly and habitually succumbing to effeminate and selfish gratifications. So, emotional and selfish gratifications. You don't even know what you're missing out on. Those things we hold so closely to, whether it's sex, whether it's video games, whether it's social media, these are all things that pull us and drag us away from the power we've been blessed with. We don't even know what we're giving up because we refuse to let that go. We hang on to these things for dear life because for many of us, it's the only time we've ever not hated ourselves, or we've never felt accepted, or we've never been fearful of what other people are thinking. We hang on to these little tendencies just to make ourselves feel like we can exist. But I can tell you it's harmful to yourself. It's so harmful to use something else to escape your world, your fears, your insecurities. You don't even know what you're missing out on. I didn't know what I was missing out on, and I've still got more growth to do. That's the exciting part of this. There's so much ahead of me still. I've come so far, but the road ahead is long, but I'm willing to do it because I know the freedom on the other side is powerful and it is worth my time. It is the God in man, excuse me. If the God in man is to rise strong and triumphant, the beast in man must perish. We talked about this. We talked about this at the beginning. You serve God or you serve the beast. You serve righteousness and truth or you serve selfishness and animalistic nature. Those are what these categories break apart into. Those are the things we need to remember. Which master are we serving, self or others? You can only serve one. And every decision you make moves you closer to the one you're serving. Which really means every decision moves you closer to the God of your understanding or further away. Every single decision. That's why everything matters. The pandering to the animal nature, even when it appears innocent and seems sweet, leads away from truth and blessedness. That's God. That's a Christ like life. That is peace. That is serenity. That is truth. That is eternal wisdom. Every time you pander to your animal nature, which means submit and allow a behavior that selfishly serves you to make you feel good in a moment. Every time you do that, leads you away from truth and blessedness. Now, this is kind of a wake up call for me because I still like to indulge in certain foods. I still like to flick through, what is it, YouTube shorts every once in a while. Like, so much video trash out there. I do a lot better than some, I guess. I keep my usage low and don't really use social media for much else than building and sharing this podcast. But there's still things I can work on, I guess is what I'm saying. But I turn away from them every time I do or take an action that turns me away from them. That's the thing. This is about our actions at the end of the day and choosing what our action will be. Each time you give way to the animal within you and feed and gratify him, he waxes stronger and more rebellious and takes firmer possession of your mind, which should be in the keeping of truth. Our minds should be in the keeping of truth. But every time you feed the animalistic side of you, your animal nature, every time you satisfy those desires, whatever that looks like, you're moving further and further. You're letting your selfishness, your self-centeredness, and your animalistic nature just get stronger. We build this thing up. We breed it. We encourage its growth. It doesn't just spring out of nowhere, you know? We foster it because we do not constantly make the right choices. So really what this is at the end of the day, hopefully your right choices. Hopefully you're Choices to be of service outnumber your choices to serve yourself. Let your mind be a keeper of the truth, not a foster of the animal. Now, the last line: live superior to the craving for sense excitement, and you will live neither vainly nor uncertainly. When you stop pursuing those things, your perspective changes quite a bit, whether you realize it or not. When you stop pursuing those vain things, that sense excitement that he talks about, and we're talking not just positive but negative, right? We like emotions, for some at least. I know for myself, can be a really great distraction, almost a really great high, just to get out of my own way, to be thinking about something else, to avoid reality. Sense excitement is a great term. It's been lost along the way because I'm surrounded by people that like to climb mountains and go skydiving and all of these things, which in those events, those actions in and of themselves are not a problem. It's the reason people do them. Do they thrive on the adrenaline? Do they thrive on the chaos, on the risk? Are they still feeding their animalistic desires with it? That's it at the end of the day. When you can conquer them, when you can live superior to them, which doesn't mean the desires go away all the time. Sometimes you have to acknowledge it to let it go, or acknowledge that, hey, just for a simple example, hey, I would like to have 17 cookies today. And that's okay because I don't have to have a single one. It's a beautiful thing. You will eventually rise above that. Took a lot of help and a lot of work, but I eventually got there. So, all right. Well, there we go. That is the end for today's episode. Extremely grateful and extremely excited to see what the last couple of days holds. And I'll be looking forward to it. So until next time, thanks.